Well, hello, my brothers, and welcome back to the Narrow Road. Here we are in the final week of the month, right? This is the fourth week, so we're going to focus on forgiveness and our neighbor. Guys, this is where we have one of the greatest opportunities to make a difference in the world. Look, right now, the world is so intolerant and so full of hate and so quick to cancel or to do away with anything that is different, right? Anytime anybody makes a mistake, like they get canceled. I mean, there are people that are actually spending hours on end when someone rises to fame has some sort of popularity, and they go back and look at everything they ever tweeted, ever posted on social media, anything in an effort to cancel them. They say, "Look, this is a mistake he made. Look, let's get rid of him. Get rid of him. He's not worth forgiveness. He's not worthy of anything. Get him out of here. Get her out of here." When did the world become a place like this? Right? It's crazy. I never thought we'd find ourselves at a place like this. But this is where we have an opportunity to be different. Right? This is where we can say, no, enough is enough. I've made mistakes. Right? They've made mistakes. It's okay. We're forgiven by God. And therefore, if God forgives us, then certainly we should forgive each other. This is that chance to be a light in the world, a bushel basket that is thrown off of ourselves to illuminate this world that is becoming so dark. Right? If we just stop and think how many times that we can even do some of the stuff I'm talking about to other people and not even know it. Right? How quickly we forget our own sins. How quickly we are to judge and we forget what we've done. And isn't it funny that we're always so quick to judge and point out everybody else's flaws or everybody else's faults or their embarrassing moments or their failures? But we certainly are the first ones that want forgiveness when we have our own. Right? We're the first ones to go, well, wait a minute, give me another chance, give me another chance. But oftentimes we're sitting there crucifying others for the simple mistakes that they've made. This is not what Jesus wants, and this is what's being called a hypocrite, basically. And this is what half the world is. If the people that dug up this dirt on the people and celebrities, all these things that you see out there that are trying to get canceled, had someone dig up their own stuff, you'd see how quickly they wanted forgiveness. And how quickly it wasn't fun or games anymore when they were doing that to somebody else. We're supposed to be different. We're called to be different. And the biggest way that we can be different is to forgive. Right? When someone's been hurt, when they've wronged us, to simply say, you know what, I forgive you. I'll never forget a couple of years ago, and I'm going to slaughter the case or just, mess up what it was. But I remember seeing this African-American young man who I think his brother had been killed or somebody in his family. It was a big court case. And where most people, they were sitting in the courtroom, his family with this guy that had killed his family member. Like, I think every one of us would have been wanting to kill that guy, right? Like, we would have wanted to pay back what had been done, right? As I said in the first video, you done me wrong. Justice needs to be served. And this young man got up there and through tears and through the mercy of God started talking to this man and telling him he forgave him. I think it was a man. It may have been a woman. I'm sorry, it's been a long time. But the point is, he sat on that stand and he didn't spew malice and hate. And he didn't call for his head on a platter. And he didn't call for justice to be done and the full extent of the law to be thrown to him. No, he sat there and he cried and he talked about how much he loved his brother and how much he forgave that person from taking his brother's life. At the end of this 5 or 6 minute beautiful show of mercy, this young man asked the judge if he could go and hug the person that killed his brother. I never seen anything like it. He came down from the testimonial stand, and he walked around and he hugged this man or this woman. As I said, I can't remember exactly which one it was. I just remember the kid and the act of mercy that he gave. But they embraced. They embraced for a long time, and they sat there sobbing and saying stuff in each other's ears. That kid, in a world that is so quick to cancel and so quick to hate and so quick to throw away and to not give second chances, showed the world exactly what Jesus Christ looks like. It was so powerful. I wish I could remember the name of the clip or the case or something so I could give it to you here. But I get chills thinking about it. And I often wonder, would I have been able to do the same thing? I'm not sure. But this kid shows us it's possible. Right? He shows us it's possible. There's so many cases like this in the world, if we just look hard enough, where people are willing to be forgiving, where people are willing to be different, where they're willing to put their brother first the way that Christ calls us to. Think about what that must have done. And here's another example, one that's more famously known. John Paul II, St. John Paul II now, one of my favorite people ever to live. I love to read his works. Everything he did is a gift for the church. If you're my age or older or even younger, I'm sure you appreciate the gift of John Paul II. If you haven't ever looked into his stuff, please do. He's amazing. He was such a gift to the church. But he was shot and killed. Oh, not killed, sorry. He was shot and wounded. Almost died by a man that they caught and arrested. John Paul II literally was inches away from losing his life. He spent months in the hospital. Right? It was touch and go for the longest time. But he kept praying and he kept interceding to Mother Mary and all these saints on his behalf and to Jesus. And he eventually healed. And one of the first things he did was he went back to that man that was in jail. And he went and visited him. And he told him that he was forgiven, that God forgave him, and he told him he loved him. There's a famous picture of them shaking hands and even hugging. This man shot and almost killed him. A couple of inches to the left, he would have killed him. And John Paul II, St. John Paul II, again, is another person that showed us that what we're called to be is bigger than that. Bigger than what's happened to us. Bigger than the wounds that we have. We're supposed to love through all circumstances. And that's what that little boy, and that's what John Paul II did. They loved no matter what it cost them. They didn't allow the devil to get a foothold in their life. Right? They didn't sit there and brood and be angry and have malice and blame God and that person and anybody else about what had happened to them. They forgave. An incredible sign of forgiveness that shows us that it is possible for us too. And it shows, how many people, how many countless and thousands of people were affected by that moment when they saw John Paul II go immediately to that man and give him forgiveness and tell him there was hope for him in Jesus Christ. I'm having trouble not tearing up right now thinking about it. That one act probably changed the hearts of so many people that were holding a grudge. Right? We have an opportunity each and every day in our lives, whether it's with the ones that we love or that are closest to us, or it's with those that God puts in our path each and every day to forgive. That's where we find virtue, men. It's not in some superhero moment in a movie. We don't get many of those. But we do get small moments each and every day to choose to be like Christ. And there's no better way to choose to be like him than to forgive like he forgave us. Let us never forget what we did to him and what he forgave us for doing to him. And for his willingness to constantly pour out his mercy. We have to emulate Christ. That's what we're called to do, is be like him. That means in all facets. That means in all ways. He's the light of the world. We're called to be a light of the world. His light shone through us, and we do that in no better way than when we forgive people, no matter what it's cost us, no matter how bad it's hurt us, no matter what we've lost. To forgive through anything and know that in the end, God forgives us as the way that we forgive, right? The way that we forgive is the way that we're forgiven. And to extend a courtesy to others that maybe we haven't been extended. This is what it's about, man. This is what this whole month has been about, is first working out that forgiveness and understanding God's forgiveness of you so that you can go out and forgive others and have the same forgiving heart that Christ has for us with your wife, with your kids, with your neighbor. Guys, this is a lesson we need to learn for the rest of our lives, not just for 1 month. Take this with you. You've been able to practice it for 30 days, or you're going to be finishing practicing it over the next few days of those 30 days. Take this one to heart. Keep it close. Look to the examples of people out there that have been forgiving. Emulate it. Emulate Christ and be the light in the world, the forgiving light in the world that you're called to be. Thanks for your time, and God bless.